Eastern half of the United States has been busy with heavy thunderstorms, and a lot of those will continue into the coming days with cooler than average air to go along with that. At the same time, though, we're going to see ridging move from the west into the central United States. That will increase severe weather chances and the heat towards next week. I've got all the details you need on the pattern ahead right here. Here's that cool down that's going to carry us through the rest of this week from Texas all the way up to the mid-Atlantic, and these maps right here from WeatherBell are great at tracking them for you, so if you want to check out their free trial link, it is right down there below in the description, so you can get the same maps that I use here on the channel. Also, if you've never watched a One Nation weather video before, consider subscribing to the channels as I make my way towards 5,000 followers. And a reminder is that there's always timestamps down there in the description, so if you ever want to skip to a specific part of the video, use those. But we're getting right into the overview here, and you can see we've got a lot of rainfall for the southern and eastern United States, at least according to this model, in the next 3 to 5 days. That's pretty set in stone anyway. We're also going to see some storms move towards the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. Some of those could be severe with the ridging next week. I'll talk all about that right here through the rest of this video. Let's start with the near term with that future radar playthrough, heading towards our Wednesday, July 24th of 2024. Into the afternoon and the evening, we're going to be watching a couple different things. The first really piece of energy that we're going to be watching is going to be sitting on up here near Michigan. I drew a little bit of an L there. That is your low pressure system sitting right on top of Michigan, but there's not much rain actually over Michigan. You see that line that I'm drawing now? That's part of the cold front that is responsible for the cooler than average air that's in the east. That's going to be the final reinforcement of that. It's also going to bring some Wednesday afternoon showers and thunderstorms from parts of Vermont, curling all the way back on over there towards northern Illinois. So that's the first part of the explanation. The second part, you see those storms down here in the southeast from the Carolinas and Florida all the way over there to South Texas. That little line I just drew, that's where we're going to have a stationary front. Don't overthink the stationary front. Stationary literally means it is stationed right over those areas. So we're going to be watching the best chance for showers and thunderstorms, especially with the flooding concerns over those areas Wednesday afternoon. We'll see a very similar deal, as you can see there as I flashed by it, for Thursday afternoon. Jumping towards our Friday, July 26th, we are going to notice more showers and storms over a lot of the same areas. It'll be a little bit less in coverage, I think, for most of these spots, but Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, especially along the coastlines there. Definitely watch out if you're on the beaches there. We'll have some showers and thunderstorms to track. We'll also have some of those heavier downpours over towards Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas on Friday. But a lot of the northern tier of the country pretty dry. We will have some monsoonal precipitation, as you can see over there, though, towards parts of Colorado, Wyoming, back down to New Mexico. I do want to point out some of that precipitation that we had Friday going into Saturday over parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas. That is in association with a little low that's going to be moving from south to north, as I just drew with the arrows there, out of the mid-south towards the Midwest, heading out of the end of this week into the weekend. As that continues pushing north, that's really going to help to, I think, initiate some precipitation on the outer edge of a ridge. That's going to be as we head towards the back half of the weekend, towards next week. This is what I'm going to break down in more detail a little later in the video after the near-term pattern, but look at it. It looks pretty active with showers and storms really along, especially the Mississippi Valley on Sunday. Some of those could be severe, especially I think the further north you go, closer to where we'll actually have a low-pressure system forming. Look at how active it will be heading towards next week. All right, let's talk near-term pattern, then we'll talk long range. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about that near-term flooding risk out of some of those storms that we're going to be watching Wednesday afternoon through our Thursday. This is from Wednesday mid-afternoon through Thursday in the middle of the afternoon, the 24-hour precipitation according to the Weather Prediction Center. There's that little swath of that heaviest rainfall from parts of southern Iowa and northern Missouri, all the way back on over there towards Vermont and New Hampshire. Most spots picking up about a half an inch to an inch of rain in that small corridor for the heaviest thunderstorms, but we will have some local spots, especially there you see maybe around Albany, New York. We could pick up 1 to 3 inches of rain on the locally high end. That could definitely be enough to cause some isolated flooding along that boundary. The more stationary boundary, though, that's going to be more stationary in the way of the thunderstorms that are along it as well. So they're from South Texas and southwestern Louisiana all the way on up there to far southeastern Virginia. The best chance for widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain and some locally higher amounts just in a 24-hour period from late Wednesday into early Thursday. That's what we'll be watching in that southern and eastern corridor. Heading out of Friday into our Saturday morning, so this encompasses most of Friday and Friday night's rainfall. There's that area I circled earlier in the overview. Look at it with that rainfall, still looking at totals, especially the highest there in some parts of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and then on over there in the Carolinas. Along that coastline, we could see some especially higher flooding concerns there in Texas, Louisiana, as well as on over there into South Carolina and North Carolina. We'll also be tracking some of the monsoonal precipitation that we have in that area I circled in Arizona, New Mexico, and into Colorado. We'll definitely be watching the potential for some flooding out of those showers and storms that we get ramping up with that monsoon there. But the main area I want to focus on with total precipitation, not just those 24-hour increments I was just showing you. Let's go ahead and look at what we're going to have through around the middle point of the upcoming weekend through our Saturday night. Very heavy rainfall. So just the next 3 to 4 to 5 days, lots of spots picking up 2 to 4 inches of rain from Texas to the Carolinas. Locally higher areas there in those maroonish shades closer to 6 inches. I'm sure some spots will try to get towards 8 to 10 inches there. That could be just south of Houston, Texas. Be ready for those flooding concerns. Turn around, don't drown if you're on any flooded roadways. Looking at this, there's that cool down once again that I talked about a little bit earlier, and now we're going to break it down as we go towards our July 24th and our July 25th, our Wednesday and our Thursday, aka look at all those cooler than average conditions that we're going to have over the southeastern and really most of the eastern United States, from Wisconsin down to Texas, back over to the Carolinas. Temperatures 5 to 10 degrees below normal for this time of the year. I don't want to leave out the fact, though, that over up there in Montana and into the Dakotas, we will be looking at temperatures around 20 degrees above seasonable averages. Definitely a change, and that's going to be that ridge that really carries us towards next week, and another one will develop too. Here we go, though, with those near-term temperatures as we go towards our Wednesday afternoon. Look at those numbers, really impressive in terms of how low they're going to be. Those circles indicate record minimum highs. It's never been this cool before for a peak temperature in the day since records have been kept there. So you see that there in south central Texas. Over to a lot of Mississippi, some 80s. Those are breaking record low highs. So I know that sounds really wordy, but be ready for the nice conditions, I guess, especially if you don't like that summer heat. Triple digits up there, though, in Montana as that ridging is going to continue to build there. That's Wednesday afternoon. Let's go ahead and jump into our Thursday afternoon, and you're really going to notice where the heat is going to be and where it is not going to be. And I'm about to draw that line and show you exactly where that is. There's the split right through the plains, and it's really cutting the United States in half. If you're in the eastern half, most spots in the 70s and 80s. We've got some seasonable for this time of year, 90s in far south Georgia, parts of Florida. But really, we're still breaking record low highs because it's so cool in the peak heating of the day there in places like Jackson, Mississippi, 82 on our Thursday afternoon. Meanwhile, we're up there breaking record maximum highs with those boxes in parts of South Dakota, Montana, 100 plus for highs. That will continue into Friday over that region and continue building. So enough with the previews of the heat. Let's actually take a look at how this is going to play out as we go towards the weekend and next week. Let's start with the end of this week, Friday, going into Saturday the 26th and the 27th. Where there's a little bit of a switch up going on. You can already see some of the blues fading from the east, and especially the northeastern U.S. being replaced by some oranges. The deeper reds up there in the Dakotas and Minnesota, as temperatures will be in those areas closer to 10 to 15 degrees above seasonable averages for this time of the year. Closing out the week, heading into the weekend. Still cooler than average into the weekend, though, down in the southern and far western United States. As you notice, that will even continue into the 28th on Sunday. The 29th next Monday, as we're going to be noticing at the same time some reds developing, at least according to my interpretation of some models there for parts of the central U.S., the upper Midwest, and the Great Lakes and Northeast. That's where we'll be closest to being about 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year. And then those final 2 days of July, July 30th and July 31st, both of them next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Look at this, warmer than average for most of the country, and especially there in South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas. And that could be the ridge that turns into a ring of fire, bringing chances for the highest concentration of severe weather on the outer periphery of it. In fact, let's talk a little bit about how that could shape up with the 6-hour precipitation increments from our ensemble collection here surrounding the European model and its members. This is just really a mean, or kind of like an average of what different ensemble members are showing in terms of precipitation. And as we go towards the upcoming weekend, here's our late Saturday heading into our early Sunday. We're going to begin to watch an active pattern for severe weather initiate up here, the Dakotas, Minnesota, northern Wisconsin. Already noticing an increased chance for maybe some isolated scattered bouts of severe weather with this low. Notice those greens. The deeper the color, the heavier the rain, and really the higher the likelihood that there is rain there, being indicated by this collection of ensemble members. As we go towards late Sunday, July 28th, heading into our early Monday, July 29th, there we go. Look at those greens. This is increasing confidence and more scattered to widespread thunderstorm coverage. X marks the spot, so I'm marking the spot for you where the best coverage in terms of these ensemble members is for the thunderstorms. Sunday night, heading into our early Monday, and you see it's there in the Dakotas, Minnesota, and parts of Iowa. As far southeast, though, as parts of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Missouri. I want you to be on guard for some of those storms. If you don't get them at Sunday night heading into Monday, though, you'll probably get some as we go towards Monday and into Tuesday. Look at what these members are indicating. There's that greener bullseye right where within this triangle of X's I'm showing you, up there in the Midwest heading into the Great Lakes. It's really, I think, going to be an active start to next week for severe weather in this region, and I'm going to show you the jet stream to actually prove that here in just the next 20 or 30 seconds out. What I do want to show before that, though, is how as we go out of Tuesday, we'll watch some storms maybe in the Ohio Valley, some parts of Tennessee, Arkansas. Then as we go towards Wednesday, a lot of the eastern U.S. still looking at the storm chances out of this same overall setup. The jet stream's going to be moving in from the northwest to the southeast around that ridging that's keeping it dry, even in some of the monsoonal areas there of the west and southwest. That could continue to spark some severe weather, or at least some increased thunderstorm coverage over these eastern states Wednesday afternoon, and then the confidence really continues decreasing from there because, of course, when you lose time confidence, you're losing the intensity confidence in any sort of storms as well. The mid-level jet stream, 500 millibar level, this is 15 to 20,000 feet on up there in the atmosphere. These ensemble members really honing in on where that jet stream is going to be moving around this high-pressure ridge early next week. This is Tuesday at 8 p.m. This really goes to show you how the pattern is going to set up all of early next week. The flow over high pressure systems is clockwise, so from west-northwest to east-southeast, we are going to see those winds move from Idaho all the way on over there towards Minnesota and Iowa. On the eastern fringes of jet stream energy pieces like this, that's where you tend to get the best chance for severe weather. And that's why as we carry out of the weekend and into the early to mid part of next week, we'll watch those severe weather chances go from northwest to southeast in line with that jet stream flow out of the Dakotas and Minnesota in the weekend, through the Great Lakes heading out of the weekend into early next week, parts of the Midwest, and then towards the Ohio Valley, the rest of the East, sometime on a Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday there. I'll have more details on that in a future video, I'm sure, for you. Make sure if you are new to the channel that you are hitting that subscribe button. I'm at 4,652 subscribers. Would love to be at 5,000 in the coming days or months, whatever. So if you want those consistent, accurate, and educational updates, make sure you're subscribing for those. I do want to point out that I have to give custom forecasts to 3 lucky viewers who helped me with a poll in my community tab for subscribers the other day. I had one more I was going to do, but that comment somehow maybe got deleted, so if you're that person and you think that was you, let me know and I'll get you a custom forecast in the next video. But anyway, Weatherman of the North 154, Roblox Guy 2023, and Jack of War, Marinette, Wisconsin, Springfield, Illinois, and Cookeville, Tennessee. Let's go ahead and get into your custom forecast at the end of this video right now. Looking at that future radar for the next few days, we're going to be watching conditions deteriorate in some of these areas and improve in other areas. We're going to be improving and looking just fine, and in the all clears up there in Marinette, Wisconsin, looking great for our Wednesday. The rest of this week, highs in the 70s and some nice sunshine up there. But here in Springfield, Illinois, we'll be watching that little piece of energy with the low. Some showers and thunderstorms there Wednesday afternoon. Cookeville, Tennessee, hit or miss showers and storms there as well. All across Tennessee and the southeast, of course, it's going to be an active finish to the week. Those axes indicating that conditions are overall deteriorating for our Wednesday afternoon. Chances of storms, of course, up there. And then as we go towards Thursday into Friday, look at this. Pretty nice up there in Springfield, Illinois. Pretty nice up there in Wisconsin. Still looking at the storms, though, that are going to move from places like Cookeville, Tennessee, northward. Heading towards the start of next week, that's when we're going to begin to watch severe weather chances and overall thunderstorm chances continue or increase across all of these locations. I want to pause it as we go towards our Monday afternoon from Marinette, Wisconsin to Springfield, Illinois, all the way down there to Cookeville, Tennessee. I believe every single one of you is in this circle, so make sure that you are on high alert if you're in those locations heading towards next week, because those 70s and 80s that we have are going to begin to warm up, 1, and 2, we're also going to begin to watch some of those severe storms that could be around. That is it for this update. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Thanks so much. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. See you next one.
One Nation Weather.